Now, right below this link, we want to render a div. Which is looking good. Now, right below this link, we want to render a div. And this div is going to have a class name equal to flex. It's going to have a w-32, a justify end, because we want to move it to the end of the container. And the gap of 3. Inside of here, we want to start setting up Clerk, the easiest and the most comprehensive way to set up authentication within your apps. Or as they like to put it, more than authentication, complete user management. So to properly follow along with me using Clerk and building it out, click the link in the description where it says Clerk, and that's going to take you to the sign up page. So either create an account or sign up, and once you're there, add an application. Then sign up. And once you're there, add an application. Then you can choose your application name. In this case, we're going to do Evently. And Clerk will automatically build your sign-in component for you by choosing how you want your users to sign in. In this case, we can do email as well as Google. Let's press Create Application. Right after, you'll be redirected to your homepage, where we have a quick start for all different kinds of applications. In this case, of course, we're going to proceed with Next.js. So let's copy our envs and let's add them to the .env.local. We don't have that file yet, so let's create it in the root of our directory by saying these, and let's add them to the .env .local. We don't have that file yet, so let's create it in the root of our directory by saying .env .local, and let's paste them right here. Here. After you do that, you can click Continue in Docs. Here, we can see all the steps needed to set up our clerk. So instead of me telling you what to do to set this up, what I like to do is for us to go through the documentation together. That's the way you're truly gonna learn, and let's be real, that's the way you'll be developing apps in the real world as well. So first, we have to install Clerk Next.js. Let's copy the command, open up the terminal and paste it right here and press enter. Sure. I'm going to zoom this out and give more space to our terminal inside of which we're installing commands. The other terminal is still running our app. There we go. It has been installed. Then set the environment keys, which we have already done. And then we have to wrap our app in the Clerk provider. So to do that, we simply have to go to our source app layout and then import Clerk provider and wrap our entire app with it. So we can go to our app and then layout. If we go down, we simply need to wrap our HTML with Clerk provider, with which we can auto import from Clerk Next.js. And we can properly close our app like this. Okay, that is done, and we have the import at the top. Now that Clerk is installed and mounted in our app, we also need to create a middleware.ts file. So let's copy their middleware and let's add it to the root of our directory, middleware.ts, and paste what we copied. Middleware, and let's add it to the root of our directory, middleware. .ts, and paste what we copied. Now immediately they ask you to try visiting your localhost now. It will redirect you to the sign up page. Let's give it a shot. If we go here and reload, we are redirected to the sign in site. lineup modal. How cool is that? And you didn't even have to set up any guards or redirections or the modal, or heck, even creating the modal and hooking up the Google Auth to it. It was all done for us. Not to mention that if we go to Clerk right here, and then go to User and Authentication, and choose Social Connections, I believe that there's more than 30 of these here that you can choose. I mean, Discord, TikTok, Slack, GitHub, they are all here. So you can choose to add any of these just with a single click. As a matter of fact, let me give it a shot. If I click GitHub here and press save, and now go back and reload, that's it. We just added GitHub. This is what I mean when I say that Clerk is the easiest way to add auth to your apps, but also the most comprehensive, because with a couple of clicks, you can add all sorts of different functionalities to your user management. So with that said, let's set up our middleware properly for our own application. We want to expand this auth middleware, and then we want to set public routes because we want to expand this auth middleware, and then we want to set public routes because we want our users, even if they're not logged in, to be able to visit specific routes. We can do that by saying public routes is equal to an array of /. We're going to also have / event events / and then the ID of that event. The next one is / API / webhook / clerk, and we can duplicate that below to create / API / webhook / Stripe for once we implement payments. And also we want to do one for our image upload by saying API upload thing. We also want Clerk to ignore some routes, so we can add them to the ignored routes. Which is also an array. And we wanted to ignore these last 3 that we added. Above, so we can simply paste them here. Great, our Clerk middleware is set up. And believe it or not, this is all it takes for you to add Clerk to your application. But now let's try to log in directly from our header. That's what we wanted to do in the first place, right? So let's collapse this back and let's utilize the Clerk package. But now let's try to log in directly from our header. That's what we wanted to do in the first place, right? So let's collapse this back and let's utilize the Clerk package we have installed. We can do that by